Hi, I'm Shaggy.
Hi, I'm Ari, and you're watching the very first Shaggy and Ari show, where we'll be discussing about anything under the sun. Actually, Shaggy.
Anything under the sun, more like things that both of us are interested in. So today, I mean, some of you already know, both of us deal a lot with cameras. So today we're doing a topic regarding
We'll be doing regarding DSLR versus mirrorless. So, Shaggy,
D.
you're a mirrorless guy, right?
I'm a mirrorless guy, man. Ever since today, I was in the studio with Wesley and we were talking, right? And I was just asking Wesley how old he is. He told me that he's 23, and I was thinking back what I was doing when I was 23, which was a grand total of 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, I bought my first mirrorless camera, the NEX5N, and since then I've never looked back. Yeah.
Well, for me, I've been a photographer for like about since 23 as well, right? Right after army.
Yeah.
So
Got
I've
it.
not been trying out any other camera brands except for the Nikon line, and I'm still very happy with it. However, Nikon has disappointed me quite a bit lah throughout the years. But I'm still using it lah. I'm still happy with using a DSLR. The thing that I'm not really happy about, or not, actually, we'll move on to how's your
Yeah. So just to give a brief introduction to everyone who doesn't really know
yeah.
both of us, maybe I have always been the devil in this relationship that we have here.
Yep.
I've always been begging Ari to move over to mirrorless because that's how much I love using a mirrorless camera, and I was trying so hard to let him realize that maybe life would be a bit better if you use mirrorless. It's been years and years and years, and there are so many opportunities for us to explore. But I think because life gets in the way and we all get busy and all that, we don't really get to do things, and cameras cost money. So I think the transition hasn't happened, but in the recent times the transition was going to happen already. So that's when I realized that we should be doing this show to talk it out and talk through the thinking process between both of us. Yeah.
But okay, so I'm very contented with what I have now, which is my D7200.
Which he just bought, by the way. He just
I
bought this
just
D700.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just bought a second hand, but it's low shutter count. Not much of a problem. The low light capabilities on the D7200 is much better than my D5100. But it's kind of noisy. I'm very impressed that the mirrorless line has no click. That's basically it, right? There's no mirror in the mirrorless camera. That's the
Right.
name. So how does, like, for example, you're using the GH5, right?
Yeah, recently I've changed to the GH5, which is what you're looking at on my screen right now. Yeah.
I'm videoing it on a D7200 lah. So
So you can see for yourself. Okay, actually, to be honest, right? Let's just. I'm gonna cut the crap and just tell everybody, the quality is comparable. I'm not gonna joke about that. I mean, you get a full HD image. You get something with a big sensor. It's a professional level look to it. You get your depth of field. You get everything. You can really get pretty much the same image from both cameras. Just that me personally, or based on what I feel about like progress and technology and all that, I feel that we are still clinging on to this old technology called DSLR, which has the mirror inside, and that's the only reason that's preventing people from moving on from DSLR to a mirrorless camera. Yeah.
But there are still some things that are still good in the DSLR. For example, the autofocus speed, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, just please go on with the list of things.
Yeah, the autofocus speed is much more reliable.
Okay.
Since also previewing the photo that you'll be seeing, the EVF or the electronic viewfinder on the mirrorless camera still needs to be improved lah, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Uh, if it's about image stabilization, how would you weigh your G85 or GH5 for that matter?
Is it? I have a question before I answer that
Mm.
question that you have for me, which is it true that there are no DSLRs with image stabilization?
I'm not really sure, but for the Nikon
Sensor.
line,
Okay. To clarify, I mean sensor stabilization.
sensor stabilization on a DSLR is
Does it exist?
I don't think there is. If you
Okay.
guys know of
Right.
any line, please do comment down below and enlighten
Yeah.
us. Not really sure.
Yeah. We clearly only know what we know, and we don't really know everything. So it would be nice if we can have a conversation.
Yeah.
Um.
The thing I don't like about mirrorless cameras is that
Yeah.
the lenses are very expensive compared to Nikon or Canon lines out there. So,
That's not true.
yeah, it is.
That's I don't think that's true. Okay,
How?
that is true for Sony, right? For Sony, that is very true. I'm not
Not really.
gonna lie about
For
that.
the Panasonic line as well.
No, not really. Okay, today for example,
Mm-hmm.
I bought a 30mm f 2.8
Mm-hmm.
from my favorite camera shop in the world at Plaza Singapura, and
Which you're not gonna
it's a
name.
30mm. Which I'm not gonna name them until they pay me to review their products, which I'm gonna propose to their boss very soon. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I just bought this macro lens, which is an equivalent of a 60mm on a full frame.
Mm-hmm.
It has image stabilization inside.
Okay.
It's very compact. It's very small. It's made in Japan. Guess the price.
Should be about, is at 35 $900.
Nope.
Okay, lower or higher?
Lower.
Lower, so it's maybe $500.
Nope.
Lower or higher? Come on, man.
Lower. Lower.
So $300.
Higher.
Higher. 450.
Lower.
$400.
Yeah, around $400. So, you know,
Okay, it's a 35mm, right? 35mm.
it's a 30mm.
Oh, 30mm.
It's a 30mm.
Comparable to a 30mm. I'm just
It's
doing a
comparable to a 60mm. It's comparable to 60mm on a full frame.
60. Nikora.
60mm f 2.8. So we're going numbers now, like you're gonna go and like literally research.
And I'm just trying to find a comparable. Is it Tamron?
It's actually a real Panasonic. Excuse me, and it's made in Japan.
Oh gosh.
Yep.
So for the Tamron 15 to 30 millimeter f 2.8 for Nikon, it's actually
It's a zoom, is it? Is that a zoom?
It is a zoom. It's 15 to 30. It costs
Okay.
about $1,000, 199 on B&H.
But you can't compare it's a zoom, you see. Okay, let me go to B&H and find out.
I can't find.
Oh, by the way, B&H is a wonderful place to get the reference prices for all the products.
Mhm.
Okay, let me look for a 60mm macro.
But so far, there's also other things.
Okay, there's a 60mm. Yeah, there's a 60mm Canon macro. 60mm f 2.8 Canon USA macro. Is $399
$399.
US. $399 US is like $500 Singapore, and it doesn't have image stabilization.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so moving on. There are also some other things that I don't really like about
Yeah, what's
mirrorless.
stopping you? Yeah.
Battery life.
Okay.
Yeah, battery life is actually a legit problem. I don't want to be okay. I'm currently working with Shaggy as well for video. So,
Hmm.
I have a feeling that if I change to a G85 for the Panasonic line,
Hmm.
if I do more than 20 minutes of continuous shooting, I think my battery gonna end up dead, right?
20 minutes, I don't think so. 2 hours is more like it.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Cause as a photographer versus okay, when I use my mirrorless, I actually borrowed Shaggy's NX6,
Yeah,
NX6.
I was so hard up to convince Ari that a mirrorless is superior that I lent him my prized NEX6
Yeah, and
to
so
try out. Yeah. Hmm.
when I tried to use both at the same time, my Nikon and the NX6, the NX6
Yeah.
actually died very fast.
Yeah.
And how is it compared to the G85 if I were to switch?
Well, let's look at numbers again. The Sony mirrorless line is actually quite notorious for its very low battery life.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look at the mAh value for the Sony batteries. FW50. Okay, so the Sony uses this battery called an NPFW50,
Mm-hmm.
and it is 1020 mAh, whereas the G85 battery. Okay, so the G85 battery is BLC, DMW BLC 12. I'm gonna find out what the battery life is
The
for
mah.
that battery. The mAh, okay, it actually has a higher mAh. So I think the mAh value is 1200. So I believe,
1200 compared to
yeah,
my D7200 is
yeah.
actually, which I have here on my hand, is 1900 mas. So I,
Since we're playing this game, my GH5 battery is 1860 mAh. So I mean, these are legitimate concerns. I agree with you,
Mhm.
but in the real world, I don't know, man, because I've only been using the the best mirrorless cameras. So and I've had great results. So just to give the people watching a little bit of background. So you guys know that I use the NEX5
Mhm.
N. I started out with the NEX5N.
Mhm.
I was very happy with it. NEX5N had a APS-C sensor, touchscreen. The thing that bothered me the most about it actually was that there was no way to do external audio, and the camera form factor was not very user friendly
Mhm.
because it had no dials and all that. So it was a very bare bones camera, and I paid so much money for it. It's like 1,000 plus, but it was a dual lens kit. So I mean, as someone who, and if I step back a little bit more, I think most people, if you want to know about my story with the mirrorless camera, I actually have another video. It's about how I ditched my Sony cameras to buy a GH5. Anyway, back to this story. So I started out with the NEX5N, then I moved on to the
Mhm.
NEX6. NEX6 for the longest time, and did most of my work on the NEX6. I was very satisfied with it. It had a very professional body and all that. Then I was itching to move on to another camera because the NX6 started to prove that it was a very old camera. So I bought a A6500, which was glorious. It was a
Yeah,
wonderful camera.
it's a good camera. We reviewed that.
We reviewed that previously, right?
Yeah, correct.
Actually, I can give you the link now
Mm-hmm.
to all the videos that we are referencing. So the A6500 was wonderful, and I mean all these three cameras were using the same battery,
Mm-hmm.
and I do agree with Ari about the battery life. Why am I telling this story again? I forgot.
for for me, I'm just enjoying your story lah.
Okay.
The
Anyway,
only mirrorless camera that I'm very impressed with is actually the Sony A9 that just came out.
but the Sony A9 is like top of the line shit. So it's like, what's the top of the line Nikon?
It's currently the 8500.
No, it's 850, right?
Yeah, 85. Yeah,
The
correct.
D,
Yeah, correct.
the D850. Yeah.
850,
So it's
correct.
like that kind of top of the line kind of thing that folks like us will never use
That's
until we're
true.
like.
Then again, if I'm using the what's the comparable mirrorless to D7200?
Your camera?
Yeah, correct.
How much does it cost?
Cost about, okay, the second hand was about 950. My dustbin just fell.
Oh, that's very hard. That's very hard. But actually, it's quite comparable to the 6500.
Mm-hmm.
But the 6500 is much more expensive than that. You see, I bought the A6500 for.
1005, right?
Okay, let's not talk about first second hand. Let's not talk about second hand. Let's talk about first hand. How much would your camera cost first hand?
First hand D7200. Honestly, I do not know. Only the body for Lazada.
Yeah.
From Lazada is 1,245 because it's quite an old model.
Right. Okay. Let's go to the latest model and check.
Cost a whopping $2,000.
Yeah.
Sing dollars.
So actually, you can compare it. You can actually compare it to the A6500.
A6500, but the form factor is a bit too small in my opinion. For when you're moving around, you need a good grip. So
Okay.
using a mirrorless camera like the one that we reviewed, the A6500, you would need to have a rig to get more comfortable when you're shooting lah. So I prefer a naked body and to shoot it with a naked body lah. I don't need a rig for that. That only applies for videographers, right?
I don't know, because I guess different people they have their own preferences. I think everybody's free to do what they want. You don't have to be bound by the fact that it's a videographer or photographer's thing.
Okay, I'm gonna go
So
all crazy
yeah.
and question you on why
Yeah.
NASA just bought a lot of Nikon cameras. Why not a mirrorless camera? Why must it be a DSLR at this day and age?
That's a very good question. But have you seen? Oh, okay. You know why? Let me explain to you why.
Okay.
Wait, Jana is popping in. Come in, Jana. You bringing in the cats?
No. Bringing in laundry.
Bringing in laundry.
NASA just
That's
bought.
Jana. Okay,
Hi, Jana.
let me tell you something. NASA is a government organization.
Okay.
If you remember, have you ever worked in a government organization?
I used to for 2 years.
We both used to, right? So when they do an open tender, when they do a tender to buy things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who wins the bid for government organization?
The what?
Come on, guess. Lowest bidder. So I'm insinuating. Yes, I'm insinuating that they choose Nikon because it's cheap. I'm insinuating that it's more affordable to achieve whatever that they want to achieve. That's what I think. No, I don't think that's true. Because NASA, you need to remember. You need to remember. You need to remember something else. NASA just got their funding cut thanks to Donald Trump. So they have even less money now to play around with. Very hard, right? Anyway, if you want to talk about space, I can give you another answer. A7S Mark II is on the International Space Station. Already installed. So if you want, you can check it out. It's there. It's one of those things, right?
Okay,
Are you back?
continuing the... Yeah, I'm back. Here I am trying to defend DSLRs, and DSLRs can't record more than 20 minutes compared to the GH5. Does the G85 record more than 20 minutes?
I think it records to just under 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Oh yeah, which reminds me, I have to put a timer here because I don't want to exceed 20 minutes. Alright. So the battery life. I'm going back to the battery life.
Yeah.
Your GH5 is able to record more than 4 hours, or is it?
I think just under 4
close to
hours. I think my GH5 can record just under 4 hours on a single battery.
So how many batteries have you purchased already?
Make a guess.
0. Just 1.
Nah. I have a grand.
Okay,
Mm,
at least 2 lah.
I have a grand total of 4 batteries.
4 batteries.
Yeah. Because let me explain to you why. Some of my Facebook friends would know that I'm an avid user of Carousel, and I found a really good deal on Carousel for Panasonic GH5 batteries, and I just had to buy it. And the guy told me
original.
that it's original. It's
Oh
legit
shit.
GH5 batteries. It's not even like off market or off brand or whatever. So it was a legit GH5 battery, and you know what? He told me that if I were to buy 2, I get a further discount. So I went on to grab it. Yeah.
How much does it cost for a battery? Like not your price, but
Not my not.
the market price.
Let me check again.
$70?
No. GH5 battery. I'm actually going to Carousel now. You know, I should be going to fucking B&H. BL GH5 batteries. GH5 battery. Okay. So on B&H, loading. On B&H, the DNW BLF 19 cost $69.95 US dollars.
Oh, that's pretty expensive.
That is quite expensive.
For the amount of ma that you have.
Yes, for the amount that I'm getting. But you know, like I said, I really got a good deal on the carousels. BLF. Oh, yeah, I got a freaking good deal on the carousels. We're talking about like less than 60 Singapore dollars.
How would you know if it's... Oh gosh.
Less, yeah.
That's good.
So when I bought 2, it was like $100. Can you imagine? Can I not buy 2? Like if someone came up to you and say, "Hey Ari, let me sell you 2 batteries for your camera for $100," I'm gonna buy it, and it's original. I just buy it. I won't talk so much. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So I was in that situation, so I bought it. So you were talking about the battery life on the mirrorless cameras.
Yeah, I'm gonna move on because
Cool.
the another thing that irks me a lot about mirrorless cameras is that the EVF is still lagging on some of the cameras. Is it lagging on yours? Or do you use it even?
The thing is, I don't know what you mean by lagging.
Okay, when you move around, like photographers, we are very used to looking at the viewfinder. So if it's a mirror, then you're seeing what is actually happening right in front of your eyes. But if you're looking from an electronic screen, there is a lag, and there is a lag when I use your Nex 6. So how is it
Right.
for your GH5?
Right. This is where I do a mini confession. I don't use the viewfinder. No. Also, the electronic viewfinder, in my opinion, would be the screen, the regular screen that you look at the back, just smaller and protected from the sun. That's all it is to me. And all this while, when I use a camera, I don't maybe I'm so used to that lag that you're talking about, I don't notice it anymore. But I might understand what you are talking about, because today I was I just bought a new macro lens, the one that I mentioned earlier. And I was taking pictures of fish. And because fish are so active and so annoying, and they keep swinging about, and you can't pose fish when you take pictures of them, and they're just always moving about. I realized that I cannot keep up with them. I don't know whether it's the camera limiting me, or is it like
Maybe you need a
lagginess
Sony A9.
just to take pictures of fish. Sure.
The FPS quite crazy on the A9. But anyway, so that is
Okay, that's a valid
clear
point.
advantage
I believe
to-
that's a very valid point that you just raised.
You know, apart from that, also is the EVF having a higher contrast than normal.
EVF
Because your
contrast normal.
normal meaning your own eyes lah.
Yeah, I actually agree about that to a very big degree. But in my defense, in a mirrorless defense, I would say that the good thing about mirrorless when it comes to EVF and screens and all that, whatever you see on screen, and when you press the shutter button, that's exactly what you're gonna get.
That's something I've been fascinated about.
So you don't have to, like, when I see a photographer using a DSLR, they're always taking a photo and then they feel compelled to check on the screen how their photo looks like, because they didn't really get that feedback response immediately while taking the photo. But for mirrorless, immediately before even you press the shutter button, you know what you're gonna get. So that to me is an advantage. But I've never been a photographer.
It is an advantage.
Yeah.
It is an advantage. It's just that it's more of how you've been taught. Because I've been handling DSLR since school, basically since I was 17 years old.
Yeah.
The first time I hold on to a Nikon body.
Yeah.
And if you're not looking into the viewfinder and shooting, it's gonna be as though you're buying a point and shoot camera. You know, that feeling of the non-pro feeling. So it's something to get used to, especially when the output is comparable, or sometimes it can be even better than a DSLR. So yeah, in the future, in the very near future, you will see Ari will buy a mirrorless camera. Probably a G85, because this Shaggy guy keeps bugging me to buy one.
You mentioned about the point and shoot thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea how advanced the premium point and shoots have become over the years?
Yeah, but it definitely feels a bit like, okay, from when another person views you using a point and shoot, it's like, this guy is not a photographer. He's just any Tom, Dick, or Harry holding on to a point and shoot. Yeah, so that is the thing that I worry about lah. Legit
I feel
concerns of
it's
a photographer.
one of those so what things lah. When I do my work, I don't let someone's opinion of one of the aspects of me define my whole being lah. So excuse me, I'm not really affected by that again. Because at the end of the day, cameras, and all the other funny tech that you use to do your work, they're just tools. I feel that it doesn't really matter what tool you choose, as long as the tool serves you more than you're serving the tool. You know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes we are a bit emotional, or we are attached to a certain type of tool that we forget that we are closing ourselves off to things that might be a little bit better. Because of how we feel, we stop ourselves. So, okay, just put it out there, right? I was a big Sony fanboy since 2012. So I was very into Sony cameras, and I intended to follow the whole Sony line. So I bought an NEX5N, which has the E-mount, and the real professional Sony video cameras also use E-mount. So I thought I would, have a continuity to start from the Sony mirrorless cameras, and then as I go along, I will graduate to the Sony professional video cameras, which use the E-mount as well. I was very dedicated to using Sony for the longest time. And then the GH5 came out. And the GH5 proved to be... Yeah, and I ping. Ping means like I just took a whole 180-degree turn away from Sony. And I honestly preferred Sony. One of the reasons is because the sensor is bigger. I thought that a bigger sensor means a better image. I thought it would be better all around. But when I saw the GH5 and I started using it, and I was really looking into all the reviews and what I'm getting out of it, I realized I think I shouldn't stop myself from moving forward just because I have certain feelings towards a brand, for example. Because at the end of the day, right, the brand, you see, the thing is, right, you can be loyal to, like, say for me, I could be loyal to Sony, but Sony's not gonna be loyal to me. I need to take care of myself at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay, that's a different scenario compared to mine lah.
Yeah.
So for yours is because you're a full-fledged filmmaker, you're the CEO or founder of Paradise Pictures, and you do this every day, and you have to get the best equipment, and you have to treat your equipment with like as equipments so that you can get it done and done nicely. But for me, if I have already been starting on a Nikon body, and for me to be able to transit into a Panasonic, can you believe it? Like Nikon, Panasonic, if you compare them both and you don't see what they can can provide to you, you will not be convinced that a Panasonic body is able to do a better job lah. And also for me, when I buy a camera body, I'm gonna use it to the max. as much as I can lah. So because I'm a part timer, right? So for me to be able to sell my Nikon body and buy a new one, a new Panasonic body, that's a big challenge for me.
Yeah,
That
that's
is why
actually a
I'm
very
sticking.
that's true, and it's not just you who went through that. I did go through that kind of thinking process as well. For me, it was with Sony yet again. I invested heavily into lenses that suit the Sony E mount, and I was
Mhm.
really again I was really into the Sony roadmap and all the different things that Sony has to offer. I was looking forward to the A7S Mark II, and I was really convinced that Sony is gonna take care of me. And I was like, Sony is much better. E mount is much better. The sensor is bigger. Why would I want to have a micro four thirds camera where the sensor is smaller? Um, Micro four thirds is for losers. All kinds of emotional things in my head. But the thing I'm trying to say is that while it's true that you do have certain feelings and certain skepticism towards something that is new to you, sometimes you gotta take. I mean, which you are doing, to be honest. Taking some time to take a look into it, have an open mind, and see for yourself. Um, I have to say that, like you, I will also use my bodies to the fullest. But the most recent change which I did was switching from the A6500 to the GH5 was actually quite difficult. I didn't want to let go of my A6500, but the moment I came home with the GH5 and started to move on with my life as per normal, I realized that my A6500 was just sitting at home doing nothing, and that's when I realized that I had to just sell it and use that money to do something else.
Yeah, I think I should follow your footsteps because I don't think I'm able to just sell my Nikon and thereafter buy a Panasonic. I must be able to have both cameras and convince myself that the Panasonic is like I would not use my Nikon at all, and I'm able to survive with using the G85, and I should be good lah. So goodbye DSLR after this review. Maybe I can use
Maybe.
maybe I can use the Nikon for a second cam. What do you think?
Um, Let me ask you this question. Actually, you currently have two Nikons.
Uh-huh.
Do you use your other Nikon?
No, okay.
Yeah. So
In my
that's what
defense,
no that's what I'm trying to say lah. You know, sometimes we feel that we need multiple cameras lah. We need like this and we need that. We need
no, dude. In my defense, the G85 and the D72 line or the D7000 line should be of comparable
okay.
standards.
Okay, that's fair.
So comparing the D5100, that's a big difference.
That's actually quite fair lah. Anyway, you want to check your camera in case it's running out?
It's 16 minutes.
Okay, so we got another 4 minutes. um, so if you ever switch to mirrorless, for example, what are some of the things that you want to consider? You mentioned you mentioned to me previously before this talk show, the price of lenses were a concern to you.
Yeah, and the selection as well.
Okay.
Because it's kind of new, right?
Yeah. No, it's not really that new. You're talking about which mount?
Which mount does the Panasonic
Okay.
G85?
Okay. So the Panasonic G85 uses a micro four thirds mount. And the micro four thirds mount is being shared between Panasonic and Olympus, and even the DJI. I don't know what model of DJI. They also use micro four thirds mount. So the micro four thirds mount is actually quite established, and the lenses. When it comes to lenses, there are many different types of micro four thirds lenses out there available to you. So far, my experience when it comes to the price is actually cheaper, and the quality is better than what I experienced with my previous body, which is Sony bodies. Sony is not very. You don't have a lot of Sony lenses. You don't have a lot of E-mount lenses out there. Most of it is Sony, made by Sony or made by Zeiss. So Sony is trying very hard to go for the premium market, but for the think of it as Sony is Apple and Micro Four Thirds is like Android, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of different type of Micro Four Thirds lenses out there, of different brands that can work together.
Yeah, so I think I'm really convinced. I'm already convinced to try out a mirrorless camera.
I
Yeah,
think
they have the
convinced to
cash.
try out, you have been convinced for a long time. The next step, I think, right, is just for me and you to go to our favorite camera shop and just try the camera out. Or one of the favorite camera shops. We got so many camera shops in Singapore, and they are all highly competitive with one another.
I just feel very sad that Nikon is not doing their best to
Right, that's
improve.
the thing, right? So, okay, you wanna check your camera?
My camera. G85 is it? Or the
No, you wanna check
D7200?
the D7200 if the you still recording?
Yeah, I've already while you were talking just
Re-record,
now, I re-record, yeah.
Okay, so um, I agree with you, because one of the things that made me move away from Sony is because I was actually quite bored with Sony not focusing too much on their full frame range.
Mm-hmm.
They are just producing more and more full frame lenses. They were, at least a few months ago, they were neglecting the APS-C users like myself. I paid close to $2,000 to buy an APS-C camera, and for that whole period, there are no new lenses coming out to support it.
Okay, while you were
Even
having both your GH5 and your 6500,
yeah.
did you do a comparison? How was it for you?
What do you mean by comparison?
Now it's a Micro Four Thirds versus APS-C.
Yeah.
How was the comparison of like, you are doing video, right? So how was it for you in comparison?
If you want me to be honest about it, when it comes to the image quality, there's nothing much to compare. I think the thing that made me really happy about the GH5 is the usability and how much cleaner the image is when you're editing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are the two things that made me really happy about the GH5. And of course, the lenses. Okay, so when I had the A6500, right, I bought a 17-50 Sigma lens,
Mm-hmm.
and it was huge. 17-50 f2.8, it was huge. But the zoom range was just a bit. It's not really much of a zoom range. It's a standard, so-called quote-unquote standard zoom range. But the lens was huge, and it made the camera ridiculous. Like, the point of having a camera of that size is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But now with the GH5, I have a equivalent lens, 24-70 equivalent f2.8. And you know what? It's so small, I can carry it anywhere I want. I don't even have to bother.
Okay, so right now I'm being convinced to jump into the mirrorless game. I'm doing a comparison between the Panasonic G85 versus Nikon D7500 since
Are you doing it on a snapshot or something?
mine is using cameradecision.com.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you see?
The Nikon D7500 is much more updated. It's 21 megapixel The ISO is actually much more higher. You can go much higher ISO to 51,200 compared to.
Yeah, but those are ISOs you will never use.
Precisely.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, so no point. Yeah.
Fine.
Go
It
on.
doesn't have it. The D7500 doesn't have image stabilization, in body stabilization. However, what does it help? Ah, that's it, man. Oh yeah. There's a continuous shooting. The D7500 is actually much faster. One stops faster. The weight, actually none of it is. The G85 is much more better in comparison. I can't.
Oh, that's so weird. I'm so surprised. No, I'm genuinely surprised. Let me check on my comparison website. D7500, is it?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Oh, they don't have it.
The one of the things that is important for photographers is the dynamic range. And surprisingly, the Panasonic G85 has a dynamic range of 14 compared to the 7500, which is 12.5.
Right.
Am I
I
doing this
think
properly? I think I got it. Oh my goodness.
Okay, I'm gonna talk about what I saw on my website, which is Snapshot. So these are the parts where the Nikon. Okay, but I don't have D7500, so I got the D7200, which is the camera that you have right now. One advantage is there's a larger screen. The autofocus is faster. There are more lenses available, which is the Nikon lenses, which are quite renowned. The battery life is longer, of course. The viewfinder is bigger. The resolution is much more, and the storage slots, there's 2 slots. I think that's something that you will miss.
Yeah.
The slots, the storage slots. The screen is more high res on the D7200, but it's not articulating. So blah blah blah. Yeah, and the shutter speed can be higher, 1:8,000.
I kind of
Anyway.
miss the articulating screen though. Previously, I had a D5100, and I really love how it articulates. It may be it's not really that useful if it's not touchscreen, but since the G85 is a touchscreen, then it
Yeah.
should work well for. Yeah, man.
So some of the advantages of the G85,
There's
as
a
you
lot,
eloquently have
actually.
mentioned. No, not true. There's only image stabilization, touch screen, flip out screen. The size advantage smaller, it's lighter. The FPS is higher, 9 FPS, and it can do 1 minute long exposure. Yeah. Oh, and there are common strengths between the two cameras. You wanna know the common strengths?
Okay.
Okay, so the common strengths for both cameras is number 1, both are weather sealed. Number 2, both have mic jacks.
Okay.
Number 3, both can use external flash. Yeah, that's it. That's the common strength between the two.
Okay, I got it switched just now. The color
Okay, go on.
depth, and the dynamic range on the G85 is much more higher, slightly higher actually, to
Okay.
the D7500. So
That's surprising.
that is good. Somehow the low light ISO much more higher. I'm just convinced. I have to switch. I have to switch. And it's surprising because the D7500 is APS-C and is versus a Micro Four Thirds. Mind blown. You can get a high
That's-
dynamic range
That's the thing.
in a
After a while, I
smaller
realized.
sensor.
That's the thing. After a while, right, I realized that I became woke. Hashtag woke, and realized that camera companies are just trying to make us buy bigger and bigger cameras because they want to make more money. Sorry.
Okay, if they switch it to a smaller, they can smaller body, smaller sensor, won't they still make a lot of money if it's good?
Because your photographers are so nostalgic, what? You all want big camera, you want to convince your client, blah blah blah. And then the market will never move lah. Because at the end of the day, we are living in a free market. People get to decide what products they want to buy, and the companies will cater their marketing, their R&D all towards their market lah. So that's why you're getting things like A9 and bigger and nicer, more solid looking cameras, because that's what the market wants.
Yeah lah, judging from this comparison, these statistics, I have to get myself a G85.
Let's talk about the price of the G85. Is it surprising to you, the price of it?
It's so much more cheaper on Amazon comparing both. The D7500 costs 1,246 compared to G85, it's 899.
What the
So
heck?
much more cheaper, bro.
What the heck?
Oh my goodness.
Well, I'm not gonna come to you and tell you that the G85 is like the most perfect professional camera. That distinction belongs to the GH5.
I just gotta
in my
try
opinion.
it. I just gotta try it.
But you have to try the G85 as
G85.
what it is, and let you like. Yeah, let's make a date one of these nights and we go to our favorite shops to check it out, or maybe a weekend. I don't know.
So maybe we're gonna film that as well.
Aren't we meeting soon?
Yeah, we're meeting soon this weekend.
What time?
Or is it,
Which
or is it
weekend?
this Friday? We're having a meeting.
Are you meeting
this
me on Friday? We're having a meeting this Friday.
Yeah, I think so. 8, right?
I think I might need to cancel it.
Okay.
But let's talk about that out of the screen. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think I'm quite happy that. I mean, I did learn a few things about what a photographer needs in a camera, which makes me like think a bit deeper about my insistence on you using a mirrorless. But at the same time, I appreciate that you are open-minded enough to at least want to try.
Have to try and move
take a look,
along with the times.
I don't think it's about the times. I think it's about move along and upgrade yourself and just, do things better.
Until Nikon produces like a whole line of mirrorless camera.
They did that already. It's called the Nikon 1 series.
Okay lah, not as in like I have nothing to defend myself with. No, this guy.
You don't
knows
have
everything.
to defend yourself. You don't have to defend yourself. It's okay. But I mean, I sometimes part of me wishes that Canon. Actually, Canon does have their own mirrorless line, but I don't find it compelling at all, and the price is too premium for me to have an entry point. That's for the Canon one. The Nikon one, literally the Nikon 1 series, Jana had one. It was quite nice, but the problem was that there was some little, but it was so many years ago. It was like 5 years ago, so I can't really I can't compare that to today, because so many things have changed. The Nikon one, I think there was a rumor a few months ago about how Nikon is gonna do a new set of mirrorless cameras. I don't know.
Yeah, it's coming out really soon.
Yeah, but the thing is, right, even if your favorite, like even if your Canon or Nikon comes out with a mirrorless line, the problem is you can't natively use the lenses that you already have on the new mirrorless cameras. They won't allow that. So they would have to come up with a proprietary adapter lah for it, which is like super leceh. I don't think leceh as in troublesome, and I don't think you want to deal with that. But for the time being, I'm really happy that you want to try the G85. Let's go out. I don't know whether the video will come out of that, but if you want to see a video like that, do let us know.
Yeah, correct. So I guess that's it for this podcast.
Alright.
I'm convinced. Thank you so
Really,
much.
are you
for-
legitimately convinced, or are you just like pandering to me?
Actually, I am convinced. It's just that my pocket is not convinced yet. Pocket meaning I
Right.
don't have enough money to go and purchase one.
Right. It's okay. Let's just go and try it out.
Yeah.
Not only you, I think Wesley is also in line to buy a G85.
Mm.
You know, some part of me feels so bad. I wish that
This
we
guy
have enough jobs.
Psychos people easily.
Yeah, I'm not I don't psycho people. I persuade them. It's
Yeah.
different. Persuade them with
Eloquently.
facts, eloquently, and gently and beautifully. I'm running Paradise Pictures with you guys, right? Sometimes I feel really guilty because I wish that I could just get another GH5 and give it to you guys, but I just simply can't afford it.
Mhm.
So, but at the same time, I feel that if you have your own camera, the sense of ownership will give you more, and you guys will be able to deliver better work. So I just hope that you guys get your own G85, have fun with it, and make great videos
And photos.
and take great photos. I always neglect photography.
Hiya, you take a.
Photography is a sunset industry. Don't forget. I'm so sorry, photographers.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
sunsets are the most beautiful.
Most
time of the
beautiful.
day.
Yeah. Wow, that was so poetic. That's a very good way to end the show today. So this show, thank you for watching, everybody. I'm Shaggy,
And I'm Ari.
and this show was brought to you by Paradise Pictures. And thank you so much. We'll see you again next time. Bye.
Bye.